Friday, May 26th. Stan Ehrlich, and this is Market Analysis. Boy, I've got a lot to talk about. Very exciting stuff. Watch what's going to happen with the stock market indexes next week. This is a very overbought condition on the QQQ. I normally start out with the S&P, but I want to start out today with the Qs. They left a gap behind between Wednesday's high and Thursday's low this week. Gaps are almost always closed. We're going to come back down and close that gap, or try to, very soon. We're very overbought. Every time you get into this territory, well, I can't say every time, almost every time you get into this territory, you end up with a correction, a downside swing of some sort. Sometimes they're very substantial. But here we had a little overbought. Here we had a little overbought. Here we had a little overbought and a sell signal, and it wasn't that much of a dip. Here we're overbought, and there was a big dip for over a month, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's a significant reason to believe that a downside correction would be healthy for this market for the longer term. And we are right now at approximately 3 different levels of resistance. One has already been surpassed. That was the minimum upside objective I have had on my screen for months. From the head and shoulder bottom, June's shoulder, the October 13th key reversal of the bottom of the bear market of 2022 and the beginning of the bull market of 2023. Screamed bloody murder on that date. It was one of my best signals in years. Produced a head and shoulder bottom. That's the last shoulder there in December, early January. A little double bottom all by itself. Broke the neckline. Now you have your minimum upside objective measurement, and just today, and the last couple of hours, that objective has been reached. Now we can certainly go more. We're currently doing that, but it's just simply getting more and more overbought more quickly, and about to bang into 1 or 2 other major resistance areas. In fact, one of them is a very old gap way back in April of 22, a little over a year ago. So gaps being filled, upside objectives being reached, overbought conditions, and a gap to close below the market. We're about to hit a minor high. It's not a big deal. May last a week or 2, maybe even less. This is still an extremely strong bull market, and I do expect to see significantly higher levels, a lot higher, in the weeks and months to come. Let's go look at the DIA. Now, you know I'm going backwards. Normally, I'd be going S&P, DIA, and then the QQQs. But the DIA has been having a lot of trouble, the Dow Jones, and it has a lot of trouble above it. Even if there's a little bit more of a blow off top and it jumps with the Qs and the spider in the next couple of hours or a day or so, like Tuesday, Monday's a holiday, you're still banging against resistance. So there's reasons to believe it'll back up some. Now, there's nothing wrong with this bull trend. We're back up again above a bull trend line again. We're bouncing off support areas. I like what I see on a longer term basis, but there's a chance it could dribble back down again and make a minor new low. It's kind of like a downward slanting channel, which is a bullish formation eventually, and up you go soon. Okay, now the spider. And I got 4 items on the futures markets in a minute to talk to you about, including my fantastic silver research objective, a brand new signal, and a signal from yesterday working great this morning. The spider right at significant resistance. Highs last week, couldn't get through it, dropped off for a couple of days. Wednesday was the low, and we're right back up to the end of last week and the beginning of this week, which was a top way back in February. We're a tiny bit above that, which just a little bit above where we are closes an old gap way back in August. There's still an old gap to close. So even one little bit more jump is going to get closer to overbought. Unfortunately, it's not overbought like the Qs. I'd love to see that being the case. It's not. But these resistance levels and gap closures are significant, and it correlates with the top I think we're going to get across the board very quickly. I think maybe today could be it. and opening lower, for example, on Tuesday morning. We'll see. Now, the minimum upside objective on this head and shoulder that did not work quite correctly would have been, and pretty much still is, way up here, 476. That'll be a while before we get there, but I still think it's going to happen. So I'm very bullish for the year and expect new historic highs, frankly. What about the next few hours and next week? Well, again, price problems, resistance, reasons to believe that maybe a little bit more strength real quick here, like a little last gasp to the upside, and all of a sudden you balloon pops and it slips, may be just about to happen. I know I'm sticking my neck out. There's really only one other alternative I can come up with, and that's a huge rally next week, almost every day, and a gigantic major long-term breakout, and everything gets overbought like crazy. That can and does happen, but right now, prime territory to begin some sort of a dip. Futures, futures, futures. Here we go. We always start out with the spider. It is an index as well as a futures contract, and it is about to get through resistance. Maybe it's right where it had trouble last week, and it could again. And that's what I'm thinking. Trouble, bit of a dip more, no big deal, and then up again. I'm not bearish. I'm just looking for a correction. Next chart. Bonds at support, at a bull trend line, now slightly higher on the day, is oversold. Looks like it's in the process of turning back up again today. That'd be interesting. Period. We might get a bullish engulfing if we can get above yesterday's high, but that doesn't look particularly likely. But it could. Next chart is 10-year notes in the same situation. We're not quite as accurately as at support, but it's oversold, and it's a little bit lower in the day right now. So not quite as optimistic about this turning today, but I like the oversold situation, and it is in a general broad area of support. Next chart. Crude, not much to say. Sideways for the last couple of weeks at resistance. I'm looking for it to head south quickly, soon. Next. Heating oil, same comment. Sideways, just hanging in there above a little support area. Trend is down, looking for new lows real soon. Next, natural gas. Yesterday, there was a bearish engulfing. You saw it happen. Play the recording from yesterday. We're in new lows. Looks like probable close below yesterday's low. ER1 definitely is short. ER3, we missed by a little bit so far. We have a couple other potential days of retracement potentials, and we still might be able to sell it short using the ER3. Next chart. So that's working. Gold, dropping off a little bit more, oversold. Warned you that this market looked like it was topping out. I think it did. Looking for lower levels, but first there could be a little rally. It's oversold. Next is, wow, silver. I can't believe I'm getting a bullish engulfing buy signal today, the day after we reached the minimum downside objective on the double top formation, which had bearish ER signals on both exact high days. A couple of days after the second one, we got a third one. I'm nicknaming it the complementary sell signal, and crash the next day, breakout. So I can't believe how perfectly textbook everything this is working out. I'm now turning around, getting bullish. We have a bullish engulfing and oversold conditions. I'm expecting a rally back up to approximately 24.70-ish, probably next week. My protective sell stop is 22.78. ER1 is long, point blank. We'll see if we can get long Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Next chart. I love that one. Platinum. You know, all three, gold, silver, and platinum, we caught the bottoms in February. And so this is a platinum bottom. Got overbought, couldn't make a new high in the next rally, double topped out, broke out to the downside Wednesday, a little bit more follow through, got oversold yesterday, and a very mild, not too big a bounce today. Probably not the end of the bounce, maybe up to 1,056 ballpark, and then down again. bearish, looking for lower lows, but we just bumped into oversold conditions. So yeah, it probably will bounce a little bit more. Next, oversold a couple of days ago, rallying, and I don't necessarily think it's going to get up to 3.82 on the high grade copper, but that's possible. But somewhere where it is right now, frankly, up to 3.82 is where I expect it to hit a rally high and turn back down, bearish, looking for sell signals. Next, looking for a little bit more of a bounce in soybeans, but bearish, looking for new lows very soon. Basically same comment on soybean oil, but we did get a buy signal this week. On Monday, Tuesday, we're all in, so to speak. Small loss. Wednesday, approximate break even. Yesterday, it started to make a little money, and today we have a new high for the rally and likely a slightly new higher close. Not a big deal yet, but I think it's going to accelerate more quickly and bump up against very quickly 50.75. Now, that's our first problem area, but by then we'll have a profit in the trade. Our stops will be protecting a loss under normal circumstances, and we're good. So I'm really looking for the next signal, which should be a sell signal, and it may be a little over 51. Next chart, soybean meal. Yeah, same kind of commentary, except I didn't get a buy signal, but a little bit more of a rally out of this oversold condition would not be surprising. And that blue line is pretty much at 418.5. That's about where I would expect it to turn back down. I'm bearish. Next is corn. This has rallied a touch more than I would have expected, and it's almost overbought now. So it got up here, which is resistance area, and closer to a significant bear trend line too. I expect any time now it's going to turn back down and make another new low for the trend down below 544. Next, wheat. Trying to bottom out a little bit, not very successful at it this week. Bearish, looking for new lows. And live cattle, new highs, bull trend continues. Next, very bearish, oversold to a severe extent. Today could be the low day in live hogs. It's been oversold now for 5 days in a row, and it got down to a level of approximately 11 to 12. That is extremely low. In fact, I'm looking at over a year's worth of about a year's worth of history. This is the lowest RSI reading that lean hogs have gotten down to for at least a year. So watch for buy signals. If you're short, lock in a profit. Don't give it away. Start nibbling, start getting out. Next chart. OJ. Pretty much the exact opposite comments. If you're long, tighten up your stops and look to take some potential profits. It looks like it's topping out right here these last 2 to 3 days and going to have another correction. But the trend is up, and I'm looking for buy signals on the downside correction. Cocoa today is a brand new, here it comes, head and shoulder top formation with the last shoulder today being a bearish ER sell signal. We're sitting smack dab on the neckline right this tick. Closing here would be a borderline breakout, but the signal's going to be good, I hope. So it'll be much more convincing when we drop sharply Tuesday, I think. The first shoulder is also a bearish engulfing, and that was on May 12th. And I am glad to say that the head of the formation was overbought and almost, but didn't happen, a bearish engulfing. I don't recall, but I know I've seen one or two where all three parts of my favorite formation, head and shoulders, had official green or red, bullish and bearish signals, all three parts. But 2 out of 3 is fantastic. I don't care which 2 out of 3, just 2 out of 3. So, brand new signal. I'd like to see it close a little lower or more than a little than where it is right now, because again, we're just sitting on that neckline. And we're going to go to sugar, our last commodity futures chart, and neutral trend is very strong. We almost got oversold. I'm expecting new highs for the trend probably next week. Back to the E-mini, slipped a hair. I'll show you the 1 minute charts real quick before I ding the bell. And no new high in the DIA, slipping very slightly. A little tiny dip in the QQQ, no big deal whatsoever. The same commentary for the S&P 500. You guys have a great 3-day weekend. Thank you very much.